Sam here, and tonight I'm talking to you about the playoff realignment potential in the NBA. Is it good? Is it bad? LeBron thinks it's awful. Of course, LeBron would think it's awful because each of the last 3 years, the Cleveland Cavaliers in the conference semifinals would have faced the Rockets, the Spurs, and the Warriors. Rockets in 2015, the Spurs in 2016, and last year, the Golden State Warriors. So at the very least, not Golden State, Cleveland would have lost 2 of the 3 years and wouldn't have reached the finals. So, and I do think it would have been against San Antonio and Golden State. Houston was good in 2015. I think they're a heck of a lot more better and a heck of a lot more stronger this year than they were back then. Of course, back then they had Dwight Howard and they had Kevin McHale as their coach. The Rockets really, that year, kind of got the benefit of the doubt against the Clippers when the Clippers beat the Spurs in the first round. And the Clippers are a choke artist franchise. But and then the Rockets took advantage of that and went to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20-plus seasons, losing to the Golden State Warriors. But the West is far more superior than the East. And I think if you realign the playoffs, which I think is going to be a great thing for the NBA, I think it should be the top 8 teams, not the top 16 teams in the league. Make it a battle for 8 spots. 30 teams and 8 spots. I don't think it should be 16 teams. I think it should be 1 through 8 in the league make the playoffs. So it's going to be there's going to be cons to the decision, like scheduling and but everybody plays everybody in the NBA, so it's not that too much of a problem. But also, it kind of begs the question of how many teams will start tanking more to try and improve their future. Because if they're not going to be good enough to get one of those top 8 spots, then they're not going to compete. It's kind of like the Dallas Mavericks essentially confessing the tanking, in which Mark Cuban was fined $600,000. So to me, I think there's a good and a bad. Like the bad would be you probably have more teams tanking, and those teams competing for those 8 spots. But I do think it should be 8 teams in the league for the playoffs, and I think 7 of the 8 or 6 of the 8 will be Western Conference teams because the West is that much better. But of course, Toronto is much more improved, and the Boston Celtics are very good, and the Cavaliers still have LeBron. But LeBron wouldn't have reached the finals 2 of the last 3 years had the playoffs been reseeded, and I think that's why he's essentially not happy about the potential of realignment and doesn't want it, because he would have to face Golden State, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Houston, far stronger teams to get to the finals. And I just don't think I think this is kind of his biggest flaw in his career. This is the biggest thing I've always felt about LeBron, that he just doesn't have the Kobe and the MJ killer instinct. Like, he's afraid to play elite level competition. And he is. That's why he's never gone to the West, and that's why I don't think if he leaves Cleveland, it'll probably be for another Eastern Conference team, like maybe Boston. Maybe they'll join Kyrie, be on Kyrie's team in Boston. Man, hey, one of the greatest players of all time, one of the greatest franchises, the most historic franchise in professional sports in the Boston Celtics. I could see it. Boston probably does have will have to move some pieces around to get the cap space for him, but hey, they could work. Speaking of the Cavaliers, they lost 110, 103. I know they revamped that roster. They essentially got younger and better shooting, but they don't really have another superstar playmaker around LeBron, and that's going to kill them in the playoffs, even against a team like Boston and maybe Toronto. Toronto's kind of that team like the Rockets. They kind of got to show that they can do it in the postseason, that they could rise to the pressure and the occasion. And I think that's why I'm not going to buy Toronto just yet. But they are much improved. They're deep. They're talented. I mean, LeBron's a great player, but Tyronn Lue is going to be the biggest reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers don't get to the NBA Finals. Playoff series always come down to coaching, and adjustments, game planning, and how Tyronn Lue gets Kevin Love back into the flow with this roster is going to be big before the playoffs start. So we'll see what happens with Cleveland. But I think the realignment is necessary for the NBA because You can't have the Cavaliers and the Warriors hook up in the finals every year. It's getting to a point where it's just terrible for the league. And I do think it should be the top 8 teams in the NBA, make the playoffs, cut up the conferences, make it about the entire league, but don't make it a 16-team playoff, make it an 8-team playoff. Essentially make the regular season a bloodbath for 8 playoff spots. And who knows, maybe it'll be good for competition. Maybe you'll see matchups like Spurs versus Cavs in the first round, or Spurs versus Rockets. We saw that last year in the second round, but you get to see different matchups. And who knows, maybe you have 4 teams in the East, 4 teams in the West. Maybe you actually see the balance in the league. Because obviously the notion is that the East is weaker than the West. But if you make it about the league, what top 8 teams make it in the league, you kind of see really how good teams really are. So it's going to be interesting to see what the NBA does. I think it'd be great for the league. So we'll see what happens. Rockets will play tomorrow against the Minnesota Timberwolves at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN. They look to make a serious push for an NBA championship. They do have the best record in the league. The Golden State Warriors are currently winning. They would tie the Rockets and for the number 1 seed, but Houston by head-to-head win percentage. Houston winning the season series from the Warriors 2-1 will have the advantage. They would have the number 1 seed. The Rockets have a pretty tough schedule coming out of the break. So we'll see what happens as the season winds down and the playoffs loom around the corner. This has been Sam Darley. Thank you for watching.